From Portland International Raceway, Joe Samaniego, Nicole Fry, we are standing in front of the podium, which this year Nicole's going to be used up twice because it's a double header. We're out here in the fan zone. We're already noticing some differences here and there. Overall, what do you think of the vibe? The fans haven't gotten here, but it looks like they're going to be in for quite some treat.
Absolutely. The fan village is much larger than it was last year. It looks like they have some more seating, some more shade, definitely some more water stations. I think fans are going to be very happy this weekend when they visit Portland International Raceway.
And of course, one driver that has to be excited about being here, Nick Cassidy, the defending winner. We asked him in the press conference what he thought about the upcoming race weekend. Here's what he had to say. Last year, you came out on top of here, the big Peloton racing. How excited were you for this weekend, especially now it's a double header?
Firstly, it's great to be back. I love racing in the US. Fond memories of last year and also racing in New York, and pretty pumped for the weekend.
Now, we've been hearing a lot of folks talking about how the Peloton racing, pack racing has sort of evolved. Do you feel like that is still sort of like a lot of folks see you as the main driver for the pack race? Do you feel like the competition has closed in on you, or do you still feel like everyone is trying to beat you essentially?
Everyone's closed in. I think I certainly don't have an advantage in it. Everyone has the statistics and races to look at the trends from last year, and it means that it's going to be just super competitive and super tough this weekend for sure.
And this year, the race distance, one lap shorter. Does that just make it a little bit more tougher because now energy management is not as extreme, or is it really almost no effect just because of the unique nature of this track where really you just have that one chicane at the end of the front stretch?
Yeah, look, I don't know. Obviously, Sunday's race is 2 laps shorter as well, so it could change the race slightly, but I'd imagine there's still going to be a fair bit of saving. Thank
you so much for your time. Best of luck to you this weekend.
Thanks very much.
So, Nicole, one of the big things Nick Cassidy was saying, he feels like the competition has closed in. We saw how last year, 3-4 wide, a big pack, a lot of people compare it to NASCAR Super Speedway racing, but we're anticipating maybe a little bit different. What is the vibe you're getting from the drivers as we heard throughout the day about what to anticipate for tomorrow?
It seems to be a really 50-50 split about what drivers think, whether this is going to be a Peloton-style race, back-to-back, very close groups, or whether or not we're going to see a repeat of like Shanghai, where we do have some opportunities where fans and drivers can really get ahead.
Now, one of the big things, Robert Wickens, a fan favorite by many, beloved across the motorsports community. He's going to be stepping in the car for shakedown, getting a little bit of the hang of driving with hand throttles. The regen button is going to be placed somewhere, but he's going to be able to go up and down in speed. How exciting is this to see him here at Portland International Raceway at the track, and as he was talking about, maybe someday racing competitively in Formula E?
It was amazing to see. I think it was a surprise to everyone here that he was at the track today, and not only that, but testing out the cars. And so it is going to be really exciting to see what he can do in the car and to see how the car can adapt to fit all of his needs and his style of driving.
Now, we talked to several drivers today, so here are some of the drivers we talked to during the media session. This is one of those races where we saw the big packs last year. Do you anticipate the same kind of big pack like last year, or has it evolved like Shanghai, where we saw a little bit more single file, especially on the long main straightaways?
I think we should expect a very similar race compared to last year. The lap count is a little bit less, so we do have one less lap compared to last year on Saturday, and then 2 less on Sunday. So maybe the second race is a bit more single file, but definitely at the start of the races, I think you'll see quite a very much a strategic, a lot of passing and overtaking like we saw last year.
And qualifying, does that just put a bigger emphasis, or is this one of those tracks where if you're mid-pack, you can still work your way since this is a pretty big Peloton effect?
Yeah, honestly, I think, especially for the first race, qualifying won't be so critical. When we go to a track like London, for example, it's super tight, twisty, so yeah, the track positions are quite vital, but I think here it won't be as important. You still want to have track position and control it from the front, but I don't think, this track it's not the main focus.
And with the Drivers' Championship, Teams' Championship, is this one of those races where, now that we're getting close to the season-ending race, is that something where it starts becoming, okay, we got to drive a little careful because, as mentioned in the press conference, you don't want a broken front wing in this race?
Yeah, it's one of those, I'm in a situation where I can be a little bit aggressive as well because I'm not leading. So, but you don't want to be reckless and lose your front wing or get damaged that puts you out of the race. So I feel like all these races though, it's all about calculated risk, and you just got to try and manage it as best as you can and try and make the right calls at the right time.
Mitch Evans, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck to you this weekend.
Cool, thanks.
We know this has been rookie season. A lot of times rookie where IndyCar, NASCAR, Formula E, a little bit of a struggle. How would you rate your rookie season so far?
Yeah, it's definitely been a challenge so far. Just getting used to the championship. It's super high level, especially the racing side of it is very different to what I'm used to. So, yeah, I think I've had quite some experiences, but now I don't see myself as a rookie anymore. So I just want to finish off the season strong and score points in all the races.
And once you got those first points earlier this year, how big of a lift is that for not just you, but for any rookie where it's like, okay, finally, top 10 finish, points?
No, definitely a good confidence booster. I feel like we should have definitely more points on the board than I have right now. We've been unlucky in some races where we could have scored more. So yeah, I think the end of season target is to just try to help the team as much as possible and score as many points.
Now, last year this race got a lot of attention for the massive pack running around. We see more of that peloton racing this year, but then we saw Shanghai a little bit single file. What are your expectations with this race weekend in Portland, and especially now a doubleheader?
Yeah, I think all the teams are learning more about these peloton style races, so everyone is there's less moving around because people know what they're doing. But still, I expect around Portland, such a wide track, that on Saturday, especially with the extra lap, there will be a bit more peloton style racing. While Sunday, I think qualifying will be a bit more important.
Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck to you this weekend.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Portland. I know last year we talked about the peloton style racing. You weren't a fan of it. This year we've seen a little bit more of it, but has it evolved to where it's less of a pack in your opinion compared to what we saw last year?
Well, no, it's even more maybe. I think what has changed is that we're getting used to it. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it has been the reality of the series for many of the tracks. And you just have to adapt. If you're complaining that you don't like the style, well, the championship is still happening with or without you, and you're complaining. So people just adapted to it, and Portland will be the most extreme version. Because this is a proper, traditional circuit, long straights. It creates a very exaggerated peloton effect. I think it's good for the fans. There's a lot of overtaking, and you will only know who will win until the very last lap.
Now, of course, that last lap, we got one lap less compared to last year. Does that make it where with the energy savings, maybe we could see a little less of that peloton effect, or will it still be saving energy?
Yes, so having one lap less reduces the peloton effect, but it's so exaggerated here in Portland that you will still have it regardless.
And overall, this season, I know it's had its ups, its downs. When it comes to Portland, is this one of those tracks where you sort of circle like, okay, it has such a big effect, this is a potential chance for maybe a podium finish?
Yeah, it could be. When the race is so unpredictable with the peloton effect and so on, you could try something different and score points or even a podium. But it's unlikely, but it's possible.
Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck to you this weekend.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Portland. I know this season you got that win, then the injury. Overall, how will you rate this season for you and the McLaren team?
Yeah, overall I'm pretty happy. I can't say that I'm ecstatic. We haven't scored enough points for that, but certainly it started off very well. Very good progress in Saudi, then obviously to win in Brazil. We had a couple of complications after that with Japan. Then the injury was hard to swallow. Shanghai was tough as well with the hand, but look, I'm here. Hand is not an issue anymore, and I'm looking forward to finishing the season strong.
Now this race, one of the biggest races where we see that huge effect from the peloton, as Americans call it pack racing. Is this something where you feel like this is a big advantage for you, or is this just something where it's almost like a wild card effect where we see the super speedways in America for the stock cars?
I think it's going to be more of the second thing that you said, to be honest. I don't think we can say that it's an advantage for anybody. I think there are definitely some drivers that it seems to suit a little bit better. But, there's no reason why we can't get a really decent result here this weekend.
Now, have you gone from first year at Formula E, then you went over to Jaguar. Now here you are with McLaren, one of the global teams, multiple disciplines. Along with Formula E, have you been able to network with some of the other drivers across the McLaren disciplines from IndyCar and so on?
Yeah, I've hung out with Lando a little bit, which is great, and sometimes I see Oscar. Don't tend to see too much of the IndyCar guys because they are over here, but certainly Lando, Oscar, yeah, I've seen a bit of them.
Any of the IndyCar notes could be translated to this track when it comes to preparing for it, or is this just such a natural, different beast?
Obviously, getting information about the surface could be very useful, but with regards to how to race this race, it's very much a niche Formula E kind of thing.
Sam Burr, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck to you.
Thank you. Cheers.
So, Jake Dennis, he was saying how he feels a little dejected, 55 points behind, but we know it's 25 for the win. You get the pole, that's another 3. Fastest lap, you could leave with 29 points. If he was to do that in one race weekend, this race weekend, both times, he's closed that gap. Do you think it's really one of those race weekends where it's anybody's game when it comes to the Portland E-Prix?
Absolutely. I think this track can be really unpredictable. I think depending on what happens the first race, even to the second race, the style of driving and the strategy could be very different. So it is really anyone's game.
When it comes to anyone's game, if I had to say 3 drivers I'm looking at, I would say probably Antonio Felix da Costa, Pascal Wehrlein, Nick Cassidy. If you were looking at 3 drivers, who do you think will be 3 drivers you'll be watching for this weekend?
I would have to say the same. I think Pascal Wehrlein has a really good shot potentially at winning both races. He, I think, can perform absolutely amazing at this track, and it's going to be really exciting to see who actually comes out on top of the podium.
Now, one of the big news, Oliver Rowland is not racing. Apparently, he's ill, not feeling well, can't be in the track. This is going to hurt him because he was just 1 point behind Mitch Evans. How tough of a break is this for that Nissan team? Because it looks like, compared to where they were last year, they seem to be making progress. It's just a tough break overall, it seems.
It's absolutely devastating, not only for fans, but also for the team and the driver that they now have to throw into the car, who has not practiced the sim for the Portland E-Prix, who has not known the track layout, who is really going to be going into this as green as can be for a driver. So it's going to be amazing to see how the team can adapt and to see if their driver can adapt as well. And it's really going to be a trying weekend for everyone. And it's very unfortunate that this is just happening at the very end of the season when they were so close, potentially to finishing on top.
And lastly, Michael Andretti, he sees it as his home race. Of course, Portland, for the Andretti fan, it goes way back. He seemed dejected too that we're not coming back here next year. We're going to Miami, Homestead Miami, NASCAR circuit. Overall, do you think maybe that team's going to have a little bit more drive, like we want to sweep this weekend, not just for the championship-wise, but also the history Andretti has with this circuit?
Absolutely. I think this is a good track for them. I think they really enjoy coming here from everything that they've said. And I think it's going to be a really sad time next season when they have to make a transition to a new track in a different part of the country. The climate, very different. The track, absolutely different. And so I think they're going to want to make the most of it and try to do the best they can.
And we encourage all our viewers, be sure to make the most of subscribing and hitting the bell icon so you don't miss any of our programs this weekend. Right here from Portland International Raceway, we'll have another video after the first practice, and of course tomorrow before the races, recapping the races, and we'll do it all over again Sunday for the second race, plus Grid Life wrap up with a big race weekend all across the beautiful world of motorsports. For Nicole, I'm Joe. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.